From coast to coast, America is burning. Tonight, a police officer charged with murder, still protesters rage. Cities burn, police attacked as the nation's battleground grows. 0 new COVID cases for our state. That's the good news, but for Ruby Princess passengers, a new health threat. A young woman stabbed to death by her ex-boyfriend who turned the knife on himself. 2 families now torn apart. Blowout revealed the light rail's $3 billion price tag in the wake of the government's wage freeze. Rocket explosion, disaster for SpaceX as it prepares for a historic manned launch. Running out of money, the fears facing millions of retirees on the other side of the COVID crisis. And the Roosters flex their muscles as the master coach bristles at questions over Latrell Mitchell.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Michael Usher.
Good evening. Tonight, there is nothing united in many states of America. They are, in fact, deeply divided states in crisis. Sweeping riots have now spread beyond the flashpoint in Minneapolis. Protesters forced the White House into lockdown, stormed CNN's headquarters in Atlanta and attacked police in multiple cities. Black protesters and political activists unleashing rage, defeating curfews and the military. Even the arrest of the officer at the centre of all this did nothing to calm the mobs. Our team in the US are live in Minneapolis and Los Angeles tonight. Bureau Chief Ashley Mullaney begins our coverage.
The land of the free. In day 4 of anarchy. Atlanta, CNN headquarters and police under attack.
Threw something on fire, Chris, a firecracker. Something's on fire.
Nick, you all right?
Police cars smashed, torched. Shops looted. The National Guard called in. Los Angeles, a single officer set upon trying to make an arrest.
The mob starts beating the officer. Look at that officer by himself there.
Dragged out, he collapses. Tonight, downtown shops are being looted. In Washington, the White House briefly on lockdown. Crowds surge barricades, delivering fury to the president's front door. A nationwide fire, and where the first match was lit,
George Floyd!
Minneapolis looks like and feels like an active battleground. It's almost 8 o'clock at night here, so a citywide curfew is about to go into effect. But as you can see, these protesters are showing no signs of letting up. They're now firing, throwing projectiles at these police officers, and they're retreating.
The Minnesota State Patrol, you are in violation of unlawful assembly.
Facing off against the National Guard, tear gas fills the street. It escalates quickly in front of us. In a matter of minutes, this went from a peaceful protest to absolute chaos. All of these demonstrators are marching because they have pushed back the National Guard. A major development just hours earlier, not enough.
I'm here to announce that former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is in custody.
The officer at the centre of it all charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter. For almost 9 minutes, Officer Derek Chauvin had his knee on George Floyd's neck as he pleaded.
I cannot breathe. You use the ground.
Becoming unresponsive. But for another 2 minutes and 53 seconds, the officer kept holding him down. His charges identical to those against now jailed Minneapolis officer Mohammed Noor, who shot dead an Australian.
The Hennepin County Attorney's Office is one of the few prosecutor offices in this country in the last 5 years to successfully prosecute a police officer for murder. And we did that on behalf of Justine Damon.
George Floyd and Derek Chauvin both worked security at the same nightclub. Staff say they would have crossed paths. Chauvin's wife publicly announcing today she's filed for divorce. But no charges yet for the other officers involved seen holding Mr. Floyd down.
The family of George is entitled to justice, and the people of Minnesota are entitled to live in safety.
If you want change in America, go and register to vote. You are disgracing our city. We are better than this.
One arrest here only escalated tension.
And telling me why I'm under arrest, sir. There was a fear there, even just within my family, that I would not come out of that the same as how I went in.
Fear ingrained in black families for generations.
Even the things that we've taught them don't seem to work.
Many hope the anger will be heard, but change is a long, distant hope.
And Ashley Mullaney is live in Minneapolis for us this evening. Ash, good evening. Now, that policeman's behind bars tonight, but the city's still burning. What is your sense on the ground? How are police going to get this under control?
Well, Michael, unlike last night, the National Guard is here tonight trying to take back the streets of Minneapolis. But from what we've seen today, they don't want close combat with these protesters. And for the most part, they're outnumbered. You can see behind me here that their Humvees have now blocked the streets here in the 5th Precinct in Minneapolis, stopping any more protesters from coming in. But with so much violence now breaking out right across the country, the Pentagon has now taken the rare step of putting the US military police on standby too. Mush?
Extreme measures. All right, Ash, thank you for that. Let's go to Paul Caddock, who's live in Los Angeles. Paul, some activity around you. These riots seem to be spreading like wildfire. What is happening there?
Good evening, Michael. Well, quite literally, we are here downtown in the second biggest city in America, and this is the scene starting here. Protesters have set this skip bin on fire. Police were able to drive them back. There's a line of police just back there. Firefighters have only just arrived to try and put that out. All emergency services have been under threat. Firefighters have had their hoses set on fire. Paramedics have had trouble getting into places too. We look over the road. That's a chemist over there. When we showed up here about 20 minutes ago, that was being looted. Those windows have been smashed. People were in there taking stuff out of the chemist. We move around. This is the rest of the emergency response. They've made it to this block, but it's been a game of cat and mouse over the last few hours between the LAPD and hundreds of protesters who've been active for many hours now, and it has been a dangerous situation. Protesters moving to one spot, police try to hem them in, squeeze them to another spot, but this is the current intersection they have guarded. As you might be able to see further down the street to the left, there is another team of police heading down to set up the next roadblock to try and corral the next lot of protesters. It has been a long night here in Los Angeles so far, Michael. In fact, in one part of the city, in front of City Hall, in fact, 200 protesters were staging a sit-in. They were told they were going to be arrested. They were peaceful, and now police are arresting them 10 at a time. We've even heard they may be running out of handcuffs. So hundreds of arrests here in Los Angeles as police try to get control of the city here at 1 o'clock in the morning, and they've still got some way to go.
A restless night ahead there, Paul. We may come back to you. Paul Caddock in Los Angeles and Ashley Mullaney before him in Minneapolis. Thank you. There is fresh scandal surrounding the COVID-riddled Ruby Princess cruise ship tonight, with passengers now being warned they may be at risk of another infectious disease. They've been contacted after a crew member tested positive to tuberculosis.
2.5 months after the Ruby Princess docked in Sydney, a new health warning for those on board. New South Wales Health today contacting passengers, a case of tuberculosis discovered on their cruise.
The gift that keeps on giving.
For Ruby Princess passengers like Les and Di, it's just another reason to worry. The illness, a bacterial infection of the lungs that can lay dormant in the body, is contagious and can be serious.
The cruise was low risk apparently when we arrived in Sydney, and now we're told it's no risk.
Why can't we be tested? Haven't they learnt the lesson?
The positive case on board was a male crew member who remains here at the RPA hospital following treatment for coronavirus. The second infection wasn't discovered until last week, and a decision made to notify passengers.
It is possible that they were infectious during the time that they were on the cruise.
Hospital staff who treated the man to be screened as well. Across New South Wales, no new cases of COVID-19 overnight, but a warning.
With further restrictions set to be lifted from Monday, it remains essential that we all maintain social distancing of at least 1.5 metres.
Among the businesses allowed to reopen on Monday, beauty clinics.
The bookings are there and people cannot wait to get started Monday morning.
Having customers back is one thing. Avoiding payroll tax owner Kaz Kazazi says would make a big difference to his business.
I see it as me being punished for employing more and more people.
The Federal Treasurer encouraging the states to suspend the tax to help with the recovery effort.
We know we face very difficult circumstances right now, but I think that Dominic Perrottet needs to put that on the table.
Cameron Price, 7 News.
Another young woman has died in a violent stabbing attack at the hands of her estranged partner. The 22-year-old woman was attacked at a home in Bidwell. Her ex-boyfriend then killed himself, all witnessed by family who desperately tried to intervene.
In a frantic fight for her life, after an unimaginable struggle, Ruth Matafa was stabbed countless times in the back, chest, abdomen, running from her boyfriend's Bidwell home, desperate for help. Her hands badly cut as she tried to defend herself. But she lost her fight for life, pronounced dead at Westmead Hospital.
I've seen the girl. She seems really nice. Like, I wouldn't think anything would happen with her. Yeah, I'm just shocked. I was friends with Jakai. They were like a happy family. I wouldn't think anything of it.
Turning the knife on himself, Jakai Fuimayano then fatally stabbed himself in the chest.
There was a number of family in the house at the time. Some intervened in what was happening, and obviously there was CPR performed on the girl by police at the scene too, so they obviously well affected by that too.
The young couple had recently split after many years together. They were trying to reconcile their troubles. There was no history of violence and they weren't known to police, who now have the heartbreaking task of piecing together just how something so tragic could happen. Two devastated families tonight left to come to terms with the tragedy.
This morning they had a loving 22-year-old son and daughter, and both families are now tragically, suffering because of this.
Laura Banks, 7 News.
It has had a troubled track record, and now 7 News can reveal the final cost of the City Light Rail has passed $3 billion, a lot more than its original price tag of $1.6 billion, with local businesses now compensated for their pain.
After years of blowouts and breakdowns, with businesses up in arms, a bottom line for the embattled light rail line. 7 News can reveal the final cost of the Sydney Light Rail has ballooned past $3 billion, with $60 million paid out to crippled businesses along the corridor.
It's never going to be enough for the damage and the misery that thousands of us spent over more than 1,000 days living the nightmare.
The government's Small Business Assistance Program now officially finalised.
Businesses asked state government for an extension to the financial assistance, and state government said no. The virus is not our fault.
It's the fourth cost increase.
I think this is simply shocking. The Transport Minister has promised time and time again that this project won't blow out any further.
The project's supposed to cost $1.6 billion before underestimating the cost to business and a payout to the consortium delivering the project and its Spanish construction contractor. New costs set to be highlighted in the next report from the Auditor General.
$3 billion, the same amount of money the government would save by freezing the wages of frontline workers like teachers and nurses as a coronavirus recession looms.
We have people whose wages have been docked overnight by this government.
I was thinking maybe in the millions range.
It's worth every cent. I love it.
Serena Andaloro, 7 News.
A 30-year-old party guest has been left in a coma after he was bashed with a brick at an out-of-control party in Brighton Le Sands. Riot police were called to the brawl involving more than a dozen people, investigators taking 7 men in for questioning.
Fighting for life after a party turned sour. This 30-year-old man now in a coma after being hit in the head with a brick.
When the ambulance came, they went straight over it and they were working on him for a while.
He was a guest at this President Avenue share house in Brighton Le Sands last night, where police say as many as 15 people were partying before a fight broke out.
I think they were just a bit annoyed that that they were all their party was getting broken up in the end.
As well as a bloody shirt and other pieces of evidence taken from the crime scene, police seized a brick used as a weapon. Returning home today in forensic suits, the residents weren't speaking.
What happened to the man that was injured?
7 of the men who were inside the home at the time of the incident have all been questioned by police, but so far none have been cooperating with investigators. At this stage, no one has been arrested or charged. The seriousness of any potential charges will depend heavily on a life still hanging in the balance. Tom Saker, 7 News.
Zookeeper Jennifer Brown remains in a critical but stable condition in hospital after she was mauled by 2 lions at Shoalhaven Zoo. The zoo posted a message of support for the 35-year-old, saying, "Our concerns are for Jen and her recovery. We ask that you continue to pray for her and for her family." Safe Work New South Wales is investigating that attack. A new showdown between the United States and China tonight after Donald Trump announced he would punish Beijing for its actions in Hong Kong and over the coronavirus. And it's the World Health Organization caught in the middle as the president cuts off ties.
After weeks of ramping up his rhetoric against China, today came retaliation.
China's cover-up of the Wuhan virus allowed the disease to spread all over the world.
Again accusing the World Health Organization of being under China's control, saying it will pay the price.
We will be today terminating our relationship with the World Health Organization.
On the same day, the WHO was getting countries to share coronavirus breakthroughs.
Tools to prevent, detect and treat COVID-19.
The UN agency losing more than $500 million a year. Donald Trump also blasting Beijing for its new security law clamping down on freedoms in Hong Kong, which has sparked protests in the territory.
It extends the reach of China's invasive state security apparatus into what was formerly a bastion of liberty.
Saying Hong Kong was no longer autonomous enough from China to get special treatment by the US, promising sanctions against Chinese officials, banning entry to certain Chinese nationals.
China has replaced its promised formula of one country, two systems with one country, one system.
As fears grow of a new Cold War brewing, China already warning if the US insists on jeopardising China's interests, China will definitely take all necessary measures to fight back. In the United States, Paul Kadak, 7 News.
Hundreds of protesters have defied social distancing rules at a heated anti-vax rally in Hyde Park today. The crowds crammed outside Parliament House with placards claiming vaccinations cause injury. They chanted about COVID-19 being a hoax, despite 364,000 people dying from the disease globally. A class action lawsuit against the government will go ahead on behalf of thousands of people caught up in the flawed Centrelink robo-debt scheme. Despite a commitment to repay victims more than $700 million, many say they deserve to be compensated for the years of stress they endured.
When Jenny Cow was hit with a debt repayment notice, she was shocked. It was $4,500 she didn't have.
I couldn't eat. I was stressed for days.
The stress made worse when she called Centrelink to question the debt.
Every step of the process makes you feel powerless and like you're a criminal.
5 years later, she's now entitled to a refund after the government admitted its robo-debt scheme was seriously flawed. The automated process cross-matched tax office and Centrelink data, the computer sending out debt notices demanding welfare overpayments be paid back, despite 470,000 of them being incorrect.
What this government has done is remove humans from human services.
But regardless of the refunds, Melbourne firm Gordon Legal is still pushing ahead with a class action.
By the time they've made proper restitution, paid back interest and paid damages, the Commonwealth Government will have had to pay these people well over $1 billion.
But the government is standing by the program, saying the necessary changes have already been made to ensure these errors don't happen again. But what victims say they're still waiting for is an apology.
I would like an apology, an acknowledgement that my behaviour wasn't criminal.
Why is sorry the hardest word in the Morrison government dictionary?
Taylor Aiken, 7 News.
One of the country's most eccentric race meets has transformed itself into a virtual event. Even without the crowds, the Outback Camel Cup was just as competitive, and the carnival quirks didn't stop once the final sprint was run and won.
And they're off and racing a bit of a
racing in the red centre.
Spider looks like he's finally found his race form.
The Camel Cup.
He pulls his head back a little bit, putting the pressure on the rail there.
Not entirely COVID-proof, but Outback organisers still found a way to let loose.
We got a 33k an hour for the winner. So we're not sure if that's compliant with the speed regulations of the area.
And keep the red dust flying in the shadow of Uluru. For its 9th year, it had to adapt. That meant going digital, everything streamed online. A slightly shorter program jammed into a 2-hour special, but it still set a cracking pace. 3 heats, 2 finals and a new champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tex taking out the cup. Golden Nugget into second and Tim Tam into third.
Tex just kept running and better than he did before, I actually think, and it was just amazing.
Off the dusty track, and organisers aimed for the same sights and the same smells.
And it's one piece of poo, only the latest throw at a time there.
And what's a race day without glamour? Fashions on the field replaced with fashions off the field. And while there were no big crowds, no grey nomads, no interstate travellers, the aim of one of Australia's quirkiest events didn't change, still managing to bring people from all over the country together to embrace the race.
Come out here, it is all year round an amazing place to be.
Angela Cox, 7 News.
Sally Barry joins us now. Sal, good evening. Sunny start to the weekend. How's tomorrow looking?
It's looking pretty good, Michael, with plenty of sunshine on the way to see out the weekend. Tonight we have clear skies across the city with light northeasterly winds. Currently the mercury is sitting on 17 degrees. It's a little bit cooler in the west, 14 degrees at Badgerys and Camden and 9 degrees at Katoomba. Tonight, temperatures will just drop in the western suburbs with some morning fog possible at Liverpool, Penrith, Richmond, Parramatta and Canterbury, so take care if you're out and about on the roads tomorrow morning. The other weather feature we're watching for at the moment is this strong cold front that's just barrelling through the south. We've got severe winds tonight, gusting up to 120 kilometres an hour across Perisher and Thredbo. Also some showers building into next week. That'll arrive in Sydney on Monday and into Tuesday, but I'll be back with the full details on the wet weather ahead with Sydney's 7-day forecast a little later.
And we'll look forward to that. Sally, thank you. Well, police bust an alleged ice supply ring operating in Sydney's southwest after the break. The husband and wife at the centre of a dramatic arrest. Test flight gone wrong, the explosion that's rocked Elon Musk's SpaceX. Russian interceptor, close call for US bombers high above the clouds. Later, the financial worries facing older Australians as we emerge from the COVID crisis. And soon in sport, we're around the grounds for all the highlights and the big moments from Saturday footy.
In 9 days, they will arrive. I have searched for a new breed of housemate to play my game. Who will be the last one standing? I am Big Brother, and I'll see you next Monday, 7:30.
Go on.
At Devondale, we believe great milk comes from cows that graze free.
Because you can't get to the gym, we'll bring the gym to you. Bupa customers get 3 months access to 28 by Sam Wood on us. Bupa, because life happens. Learn more at bupa.com.au.
The Nick Scali Autumn Sale ends Sunday. Save on a great range of quality furniture. The Nick Scali Autumn Sale. Must end this Sunday. Hurry.
You don't give in. You don't give up. It's called Aussie Spirit. And it takes spirit to get through times like these. It's what inspires us to help. Together we'll get through this. Search Toyota, here to help.
Shut up and take my money.
At Apia, we're all about possibilities and making sure you're ready for them. And while not everything is possible at the moment, there are some things you can do. With Apia's comprehensive insurance, you can double up and save. Simply buy new eligible home and car insurance together before July 10 and save 20% off the second policy. Our dedicated specialists are ready to help. Call 13 50 50 or visit apia.com.au.
Forget about your worries and your strain.
It's time to relax.
I nap a lot.
Chill out and let
let your hair down.
Let down your...
There's a bit of Disney Plus in all of us.
The Nick Scali Autumn Sale ends Sunday. Save on a great range of quality furniture. The Nick Scali Autumn Sale. Must end this Sunday. Hurry.
Customers in New South Wales told us on average they saved $209 by switching their comprehensive car insurance, and on average they saved $301 by switching their combined home and contents insurance online to Budget Direct. So who should you switch to? Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
I love shopping online for my pets at Pet Circle. I can easily find thousands of products, all with the best price guarantee. These guys are like family and I want to take care of them. But finding their favourite brands is hard and expensive. Then I discovered petcircle.com.au. With Pet Circle, I save on food, treats and litter, all with contactless, free delivery to my door. There's no reason to shop anywhere else. And it seems a lot of people agree. Shop online at petcircle.com.au.
Police have arrested a husband and wife accused of supplying drugs across Sydney's southwest. Officers made the dramatic arrest in Punchbowl, ramming the 29-year-old suspect's car around lunchtime yesterday. His 34-year-old wife was charged after a raid where officers found cannabis, ice, cocaine, as well as cash and a ballistic vest. They both face Parramatta Court today. As the countdown clock restarts to send American astronauts back to space, the private rocket company in charge of the launch has suffered a serious setback. While not directly related to tomorrow's rescheduled mission, a SpaceX test flight in Texas has gone spectacularly wrong.
It was a smaller rocket on a smaller stage before this liftoff lit up the sky. A minute after a test fire of SpaceX's Starship prototype, the test failed dramatically. The fiery explosion rocking the South Texas Gulf Coast, damaging the launch pad, obliterating the vessel. The sonic boom so powerful it set off car alarms on a highway nearby. The cause of the incident unclear, the test not linked to tomorrow's mission, where SpaceX and NASA will try for a second time to send 2 astronauts into orbit and onto the International Space Station.
Our hope and prayer for tomorrow is to inspire the next generation and to give hope for many people who need it right now, and also to unite our country and the world.
There's just a 50% chance it will happen, with bad weather once again threatening the launch. If tomorrow's mission is once again scrubbed, NASA and SpaceX will try again the next day. Failing that, there are a number of windows next week.
We will feel no pressure. We will go when we are ready. Safety is the highest priority, and that's what we're focused on.
In Cape Canaveral, Florida, Amelia Brace, 7 News.
US bombers on a training flight over the Black Sea have been intercepted by Russian military jets. The American B-1B bombers were being escorted by Ukraine's Air Force in their first joint mission before the close call. Russia also intercepted a US spy plane over the Mediterranean Sea just 2 days ago. The oldest man in the world, Bob Waiton, has died at the age of 112. The former teacher from Hampshire in England died peacefully in his sleep yesterday from cancer. He's survived by his 2 children, 10 grandchildren, 25 great-grandchildren. Well, $22 million, that's the price if a polluting container ship wants to leave Australian waters. Still to come, the captain charged as police board the controversial vessel. Also COVID-free, now the religious rituals putting Greece's virus record at risk. And why the world's youngest self-made billionaire is accused of lying about her wealth. That's next.
So what triggers this guy? Or who?
Everything they've ever learned.
Where else do you go?
Everything they've ever done.
Who else do you hurt?
Has all been leading to this.
Us. They come after us.
The killer final season of Criminal Minds. Tuesday at 9 on 7.
For a limited time, switch to Energy Australia and get a $50 electricity credit and a $50 gas credit. Plus, with Total Plan, get a total energy bill discount guaranteed. Join Energy Australia today.
As this year continues to be a challenging one for all of us, NRMA Insurance remains dedicated to helping Australians. We've introduced a customer help program with a range of relief options to assist customers currently in need. If you're experiencing financial hardship, call us today to find out how we can tailor help options for you.
When life gives you messiness, Godfrey's Stocktake sale gives you cleanliness. Ecovac D-Bot 600 robot, $299, save $100. iVac Steam Mop, $59, save $40. Godfrey's cleanliness.
Is your home bursting at the seams? Call Storage King. Whether you just need to create more space, kids homeschooling, working from home, or your family and business need to declutter, Storage King has the answer. With stores everywhere, there's a location just around the corner, making Storage King the kings of storage, moving and more. Temporary or permanent solutions with no lock-in contracts and contactless move-in. Call now and let Storage King give you back some space.
As credit to you, here's up to $120 credit from us. Add any selected month-to-month mobile plan with Vodafone and get the credit you deserve over 12 months. Find out more at vodafone.com.au. Ready?
The Nick Scali Autumn Sale ends Sunday. Save on a great range of quality furniture. The Nick Scali Autumn Sale. Must end this Sunday. Hurry.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
The captain of a cargo ship at the centre of a major clean-up off the New South Wales coast has been charged and will now front court. He's accused of failing to properly load containers, which ended up dumped in the ocean, leaving debris from Wollongong to the Central Coast.
Detained in Brisbane with a huge load of unsteady cargo, the delicate and dangerous operation to remove unsecured, crushed containers off the APL England began late this afternoon.
It looks pretty scary. There's a lot of weight and pressure in behind those containers.
Nearly 1 week after its arrival into Australia caused chaos, 50 containers fell into the ocean during rough weather. They don't want to lose more. Using cranes, they were slowly lifted off the vessel with fire and emergency services watching on from the ground. It will take time to safely remove each one and months to clean up its trail of mess.
I can see why it's taken them a while to untangle it all, because it's a mess.
Last night, Australian Maritime Safety Authorities and police went on board to charge the captain. Offences which relate to marine pollution and poor cargo loading. We are fully cooperating with the authorities in transparency in their investigations. Exactly how long the ship will remain detained here in Brisbane will depend on when its insurer can cough up $22 million in surety.
I thought maybe they're still thinking about how to do it or squabbling about who's going to pay.
More will be known when the captain fronts court on Monday. Jessica Mummy, 7 News.
You don't often hear this, but chicken nuggets are being blamed for a factory fire in Western Sydney. A call for help was made around midday when large plumes of smoke were seen coming out of a chicken processing plant in Blacktown. Around 20 firefighters were needed to get that blaze under control. They went in wearing protected breathing equipment and found a large oven on fire. Unfortunately, they were able to stop it spreading through the building. That was on Bessemer Street. While large parts of Europe have been hit hard by the pandemic, Greece is preparing to welcome back tourists. It's invited Australia and New Zealand to join a travel bubble, hoping to kickstart the country's lucrative tourism industry. Although there's some concern that some locals aren't taking enough precautions.
Hitting the water, a team of testers. The Greek islands have successfully avoided the coronavirus crisis. Some have reported no cases, and they want to keep it that way, testing locals before tourists return next month. Authorities know there's the chance of an outbreak. In the country's north, people are placing their faith in God. Despite warnings, the priest serves communion to worshipper after worshipper from a communal spoon. The Greek Orthodox Church says suggestions illness is transmitted via Holy Communion is blasphemous.
It is the body and blood of Christ. There is not a shred of suspicion of spreading the virus.
You cannot get sick from receiving communion, this university student says. Greek medicos disagree, but say they can't stop those practising their faith. In Britain, some lockdown measures will be eased from next week. Families will be able to meet to have a barbecue. But in a country where the official death toll is approaching 40,000, scientists are nervous. Some fear the restrictions are simply being eased too soon. In London, Hugh Whitfeld, 7 News.
Forbes magazine has dumped reality star Kylie Jenner from its list of billionaires, accusing her of exaggerating the value of her cosmetics business. The publication named the 22-year-old as the world's youngest self-made billionaire last year, but now claims she provided them with forged tax returns. Jenner's denied ever lying about her wealth. Overworked medical teams have come up with a unique way to overcome their stress. A Kenyan hospital organising Zumba classes for nurses who treat critically ill COVID patients. The dance fitness program providing a break for the 5,000 plus workers who say they are battling long hours, mental stress and a big lack of personal protective gear. Well, lack of Aussie tourists is having a surprising impact in Bali. After the break, the Australian woman fighting to keep her life-saving animal shelter afloat. Financial fears how the post-COVID economy will affect retired Australians. Isolation reunion. Robbie Williams winds back the clock with some 90s nostalgia.
And clear skies tonight, more sunshine on Sunday, the forecast soon.
Grand final week is here. Their 60s house is about to be restored and reinvented.
Can you imagine what it's going to look like inside? Nope. Are you ready? Let's do it.
The 1960s is reimagined. A transformation so stunning it will leave them speechless.
Oh my God!
Grand final week begins Sunday at 7.
Oh. Hi.
Hi, Mum, it's me. I'm just checking in.
Oh, hi, darling. Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's a video call, so move the phone away from your ear.
No, wait on. Can't see you. Oh, yeah. There you are. Hi.
So good to see your face, Mum.
You too, dear.
You don't need Australia's best network until you do.
These home loan applications are impossible.
We should try St George.
It's an online application.
Oh, and helps just to tap away.
It's a St George thing.
Apply for your loan without leaving home. Search St George Home Loans.
Customers in New South Wales told us on average they saved $209 by switching their comprehensive car insurance, and on average they saved $301 by switching their combined home and contents insurance online to Budget Direct. So who should you switch to? Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
Harvey Norman has everything you need for your home. Come into our spacious stores for the best of Australian made. Choose Australian made timber and fabric beds and customise the fabric, colour and timber stain to suit your home. Our range features the best names in Australian made mattresses and ensembles. Sealy, Sleepmaker, Beauty Rest, King Coil and Body Balance. Complete your sleep experience with beautiful Australian made Manchester. Support local manufacturers and choose Australian made. Everything you need for your home. Browse online and shop in store. Now at Harvey Norman.
Go! It's LDV for me.
It's LDV for me.
More and more people are saying it's LDV for me because the LDV T60 4x4 diesel is from just $27,490 drive away. And eligible businesses may be able to claim the government instant asset write-off. Hurry, offer ends May 31.
More home loan brokers with more ways to help you, giving you even more reasons to smile. wherever you are. Talk to me or your broker today.
Cases of domestic violence fuelled by alcohol have risen during this pandemic. New research from Women's Safety New South Wales found almost half of specialists had seen a rise in cases since mid-March, with 51% seeing a rise in alcohol-related violence since the COVID restrictions kicked in. We're also drinking more, with alcohol sales up 14%. An Australian woman who runs a charity to save abandoned animals in Bali is struggling to stay afloat thanks to the COVID lockdown. Her sanctuary relies on supplies and donations brought in by Aussie tourists, and it's not clear when they'll be allowed back.
It's cuddle time in the nursery, a rare moment of joy in a relentless routine of cleaning, feeding and medicating. Elizabeth Hensel was on holiday in Bali when she decided to get to work helping Indonesia's stray animals.
Finding tiny little kittens in gutters is just, you don't walk past them, you just don't.
A decade on, her charity Villa Kitty is seriously over capacity. Built to fit 150, there are 287 cats and kittens and 35 dogs and puppies.
If they were to be sterilised, we wouldn't have this problem.
Specialised food and expensive medications are all brought in by generous Australian supporters. Tourists would regularly drop in and donate time or money.
I can't tell you the number of honeymooners we've had who have somehow rescued a cat or kitten.
Then coronavirus stopped air travel.
We have nothing left.
Bali could reopen to tourists in October. Villa Kitty just needs to hang on till then.
One of the biggest rewards that we have would be seeing families, more Balinese families that adopt cats and kittens.
Going from strays to spoilt. Laura Dimmick, 7 News.
Well, pop superstar Robbie Williams has delighted fans, reuniting with 90s boy band Take That in a virtual performance from their homes. Williams was fashionably late but arrived just in time for the classics. Sound pretty good. The performance helped raise money for a music therapy charity and to support industry workers. Well, there's pressure for a new stimulus package aimed at retirees. Coming up, the new data that shows where they're cutting back and what's worrying them the most. Don't miss that story. And new details here on 7 News. But first, there it is. Jim's here with sport. Jim, good evening to you.
Over here, Michael.
Yeah, over there. All right, the Sharks, they're trying to put a horror week behind them, Jim.
Yeah, after that drug scandal earlier in the week, Michael. Good evening to you. Evening, everyone. Coming up, highlights from Bankwest as the West Tigers take on Cronulla. Also, the fallout from the Roosters and the Bunnies. While the NRL's journeymen, the Warriors, have again showed so much character, surprising the Dragons in Gosford. And who tops the richest athletes list? We'll tell you next. And the earnings are out of this world.
He just lost on brakes!
Denzel Washington and Chris Pine in the non-stop action thrill ride. Unstoppable. Tonight on 7.
Rugby league hard man Corey Parker has won it all. He doesn't do gags, he doesn't do pranks, but he does play KFC Supercoach. Register today at supercoach.com.au.
We know you've always worked hard for your money. In these uncertain economic times, who do you trust to protect your wealth? Invest with La Trobe Financial, Australia's multi-award winning wealth manager and leading credit specialist. Trusted by Australians for more than 60 years.
Harvey Norman has everything you need for your home. Come into our spacious stores and create an in-home cinema experience with the Whitehaven 3-seater fabric sofa, boasting powered reclining actions, a built-in e-station and storage console, just $19.99. The Bradford offers sophisticated style with powered recliners, overhead reading and base lights and charging station, $21.99. Spruce up your dining with the Cobar 7-piece suite. Great value at just $9.99. Everything you need for your home in-store now at Harvey Norman.
Olay was put to the ultimate MRI test. The MRI proved Olay intensely hydrates your skin for a plumper, firmer and more radiant glow. See the results in 28 days. Olay.
At Coles, you can save on indulgent ice cream, like Buller's Murray Street range, including caramel maple and macadamia, made with fresh Aussie milk. Right now, the entire range is half price. Coles, good things, great value.
Can care be better at home?
Someone from Medibank mentioned that there's a chance I can do rehab at home.
I said, oh, how much extra is that going to cost?
And they said, no, you've got it in your hospital cover. It just was fantastic for me.
1 better, 2 better, 3 better, 4. Pink, purple, orange, whatever coloured door. This is your place, your haven, your home. A nest for your loved ones, the odd quirky gnome. Training indoors, more time with your crew. Yoga then tea, yes, a biscuit or two. Enjoy your castle, get comfy, get cosy. Hang with your besties, it's all rosy. Home is where the heart is. Bank West, bank less.
It's going to be a scrumdiddly-umptious time.
Wonka, 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 Wonka.
He's absolutely bonkers. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, next.
On the latest America Burns, as violent riots spread, the search for missing backpacker Theo Hayes 1 year on, and SpaceX take 2 one-on-one with an astronaut. The latest at 7 p.m.
Welcome back, everyone. After Bronson Sherry's positive drugs test, the Sharks are moving on against the West Tigers tonight. The Tigers' highly rated new hooker had instant impact.
Has offloaded! There's your dream debut!
Harry Grant is Cameron Smith's apprentice, on loan to the Tigers from the Storm. Soon, the Tigers led 10-0 when Will Kennedy spilt a bomb and Robert Jennings cruised over. The Sharks replied twice through Wade Graham and Sherry's replacement, Josh Dugan. After trying for medical retirement in the off-season, Dugan's firing again. Now, Matt Moylan came off the bench. Kennedy scored his first NRL try, and the Sharks led 16 points to 10 at the break. The Dragons have big problems after today's horror show against the Warriors in Gosford.
Dufty can't come up with it. Picked up there by Tanua Brown.
They've been dubbed the Central Coast Warriors for now. All their time in Tamworth quarantine and lockdown in Terrigal has worked. They didn't make a mistake for 75 minutes and with 18-0 win, held a team scoreless for the first time since 2014. It's a feel-good win as the Warriors have sacrificed so much to restart the game. The Dragons thanked them in a post-match huddle, classy act, but they're now none from 3, the Red V, and their star halves aren't clicking.
Oh, it didn't work real well today, I don't think. We need to go and look at the mistakes we made and how we can get better and adapt to how the game's played now. I think it's changed a fair bit.
At times they look like strangers out there. The passion, the excitement, the competitiveness needs to be there, shown by everyone.
Pressure on that man, Paul McGregor. Now, Ben Hunt says he was hampered by a corked calf muscle, not a boil on his shin, as claimed by the club doctor. Last night's tale of 2 fullbacks reinforced 2 clear things. James Tedesco's already one of the best we've seen, and Latrell Mitchell has a long way to go. While the Cowboys inflicted the Titans' 14th straight loss, the Roosters kick-started their title defence, 28-12 winners over the Rabbitohs.
You could sense Latrell Mitchell's relief that this one's out of the way, but it might be a long year for his coach.
Well, another 16 players out there. You want to talk about any of them? Or?
Like Big Artie or GI before him, Latrell was already larger than life and fascinating before he defected to the Roosters' arch rivals and moved to fullback. Naturally, reporters asked Wayne Bennett for thoughts on Mitchell's 3rd game there.
Oh, you guys have worked that out. You've got all the opinions on him. I've got a different opinion to what most of you have got in the room here.
The kind of answer only adding to misguided theories in Mitchell's camp that everyone's out to get him. Trent Robinson was asked about Latrell after every game too, and still is.
Yeah, I thought he did well. Well, he got to play a full game tonight, so that's an improvement.
And he was reminded why the Roosters couldn't possibly play him at fullback.
Goes for the line himself, Tedesco!
James Tedesco's now even harder to handle under new rules. At 33, whether it was Josh setting up tries with new tricks or Brett running down 2 players at a time, the family reunions revitalised the Morris twins.
Craig Fitzgibbon, I'll give Fitzy, J-Moz took his first run out there, and in the box he said he looks like Brett Morris.
After 2 straight losses they wanted wiped, the Roosters joined Souths at 1 from 3.
Yeah, I thought a solid game to start the new season.
But Victor Radley faces a week off. Jared Wairia-Hargreaves may be lucky to escape with a fine. If there's a challenger for Tedesco's throne, It's Jason Tamalolo.
I think he is a machine. I think he's well oiled every night.
Valentine Holmes and the Cowboys toyed with the Titans, who haven't won since June 9 last year. Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
Des Hasler will reserve judgment on the new rules until he's seen them in play for a month. But Dean Pay knows it will make Tom Trbojevic even harder for his Bulldogs to deal with in Gosford tomorrow night.
He's going to be a real challenge for us, but at the end of the day, that's what we're faced with.
Desi had plenty of praise for his former team.
I think Aidan Tolman's very important for them. He's a pretty experienced player.
But barring a late change, Aidan Tolman isn't in the Bulldogs 17 at this stage. The Gay Waterhouse-Adrian Bott combination has done it again, and boom colt Dawn Passage is now bound for the Group 1 Stradbroke Handicap. The 3-year-old sealed his spot after victory in the Fred Best Classic.
What a difference the pandemic has made. Empty stands, social distancing. This day 5 years ago, Doomben was heaving as Winx started her record Group 1 run. The anniversary will be memorable for Chris Waller. He saddled 7 runners for today's Chairman's Handicap.
Gates open, they're off and racing.
Incredibly, Waller horses occupied the first 6 places.
LeJeuge raced up into the lead. He's going to go back-to-back Chairmans. LeJeuge too good.
Back after a 4-month injury layoff, Michael Carl and the Waller team celebrated. Gay waited nervously, as did James Ennis, who's gone into quarantine sweating on the Stradbroke ride.
Fingers crossed he just puts them away today and relieves me from a bit of stress.
He got his wish.
Dawn Passage in front, 100 left to go, holding them safely at bay, and the Stradbroke starters locked and loaded.
He'll go into the Stradbroke burdened by just 50 kilos. The owners of Shalwa have a big decision looming. They've earned automatic entry also into next week's big sprint with victory in the Helen Coghlan. Overnight, Tegan Harrison nailed her first win in 8 months.
Looks like Combat Kid Fatigues has just defeated Flying Crackerjack.
The relief was palpable in only her second ride back from a shocking race fall.
I did say previously that I'd just be happy to get around safe, but having the win made it all that much better.
She returned to the scene of the fall today, finishing just out of the placings in the Hinkler Handicap. Pat Welch, 7 News.
Well, he's done just about everything else, but Roger Federer is the world's highest-earning sportsperson for the very first time. The 38-year-old Swiss maestro is the first tennis player to top the Forbes rich list since it began 30 years ago. Now, last year, Roger earned the equivalent of 160 million Australian dollars. That's in 1 year, everyone, with 150 million in endorsements. Football superstars Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi and Neymar are next on the list before NBA king LeBron James. Daniel Ricciardo is the only Aussie on the list at number 48. Poor old Dan. He only earned, well, almost $44 million last year, so he's hardly on struggle street. How about Roger Federer, though, Michael? He's got career earnings of around 200 million. Last year alone, he makes 160 mil. He's going all right.
Not bad. And is it true the Swiss government, or is it the Swiss Open, gives him a cow every time he wins?
I believe it's a dairy cow. It's not a Hereford, but I think it's a dairy cow every time he wins with the bell around its neck and the whole bit.
Bit of a whole farm.
So I'm glad we clarified that.
Right, good on you. Thank you. Well, it's not just people who've lost their jobs affected by the economic downturn. 2/3 of retirees are worried that they'll run out of money in the years ahead. Many have cut back spending on basics, including food, as they brace for economic hardship.
Valma Aylesbury assumed her worries were behind her. Now, she's facing one of her greatest fears.
It feels like we don't really quite know what the future holds.
She's one of 3.8 million retirees, many of whom rely on savings, superannuation and investments to cover their living costs.
We probably have to revalue all our financial affairs and just look at what we can do.
A new survey of more than 1,000 retirees has found 65% are concerned about their retirement income, 27% are spending less on food, 37% are cutting back on clothes, while 1 in 5 are looking for ways to boost their savings. Huge falls on the share market have seen dividends to retirees plummet.
And one of the things that's a challenge is they're needing to leave aside a buffer because they don't know how long it will last.
The average household wealth at retirement is $680,000. As we live longer, that needs to stretch further. And with uncertainty surrounding how low stocks will go and how long investments will suffer, some are taking drastic action. With people in their 70s now showing up in Centrelink queues, the government is considering what assistance it can provide.
I think they're petrified about the present and they're worried about the future. And it's time that government had a look at this group and said, how can we create an economic stimulus?
More pain is predicted, with more companies expected to cut their dividends in coming months. Brian Seymour, 7 News.
Well, Sally's back now. Sal, how's the remainder of the weekend looking?
Michael, we've got clear skies tonight and plenty of sunshine tomorrow. Sydney's 7-day forecast is next.
Hello, Australia. I have been watching you, searching for housemates.
Whether I find a place in this world
to enter my brand new house.
or never belong.
And now, a whole new game begins. I am Big Brother.
It's a game. You got to remember that. If someone's coming after my back, it's kill or be killed.
I gotta be me.
I see and hear everything.
I never apologize for who I am.
Who will be the last one standing?
I come across as sweet, but I'm someone you don't want to mess with.
But nothing will prepare them for what I've got planned.
I gotta be free.
There will be a big challenge every night, and someone will be evicted every night.
Daring to try to do it or die.
Oh my God, it's snowing!
Who wins? You decide.
I gotta be me.
This is Big Brother. And I'll see you next Monday, 7:30.
Oh, 7.
Sunsuper's stress-tested investment strategies have delivered returns that have beaten the industry average over 3, 5, 7 and 10 years. Join our 1.4 million members and feel the strength of Sunsuper.
Dad!
Sorry.
Just wait.
It's funny.
Dad!
Party purpose. Shh.
Bring your family together. Introducing Optus Family Plan with 4 SIMs and 250 gigs of data to share.
Is your home bursting at the seams? Time to call Storage King. With stalls everywhere, there's a location just around the corner. Temporary or permanent solutions with no lock-in contracts and contactless move-ins. Call now and let Storage King give you back some space.
When a cold disturbs your family's sleep, Vicks Vapor Rub relieves cough, nasal congestion, muscle aches and pains. They sleep, you sleep. Vicks Vapor Rub relieves 4 cough and cold symptoms.
At UE, we're all about how you use or don't use your car. So we're giving our clients and new clients temporary relief on their car insurance premiums if they're using their cars less right now. Go to UE.com.au. UE, you insured.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, plus unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. Together, we're different. Belong.
Feeling stressed and worried? You're not alone. But if distressing feelings continue, don't hesitate to reach out for help. It's the first step to feeling better. Call the Coronavirus Mental Wellbeing Support Service at any time.
Fire and violence as the US riots rage into the night. The search for missing backpacker Theo Hayes 1 year on. And the jobs on offer, no degree required. That's the latest at 7 p.m.
Tonight's 7 News headlines. Violence and looting spreads across America. Rage searing over the deadly arrest of George Floyd. The main officer involved has been charged with murder. Ruby Princess passengers now warned they may have been exposed to tuberculosis. 7 News can reveal the final cost of the City Light Rail has passed $3 billion, and one of the country's most eccentric race meets goes ahead, just as competitive, but without all the crowds. Sally's back now. Sally, good evening. What's in store for Sunday?
Well, Michael, it was sunny today and we've got more of that on the way with little in the way of cloud. Let's have a look at how things panned out across the city. We reached a top of 19.7 degrees just around 1:30 after a low a touch under 11 this morning. That was just before 6 o'clock. A much cooler start to the day. Canterbury, 7 degrees there. Low-level fog also seen across the western suburbs today. We reached tops of 20 degrees for most of us. Slightly cooler, though, for some suburbs, including Holsworthy and Horsley Park, 19 there. there. On the satellite, a cold front is moving over South Australia. That's generating gusty wind showers and the odd storm. A high is pretty much keeping most of New South Wales dry, although it is just pushing showers onto the coast, particularly in that northeastern corner of the state. Now, into tonight, we have severe weather across the Snowy Mountains developing with 120 km/h winds, which will affect Perisher and Thredbo. Around the capitals tomorrow, partly cloudy is the story for Brisbane, mostly fine into Canberra, 15 degrees there, also fine in Hobart, Melbourne heading for 17 degrees, Adelaide 16 and Perth just a touch of cloud and a top of 20 degrees. Zooming in on New South Wales, some early fog is expected in Port Macquarie and Taree, then sunshine and 23 degrees. Across the Hunter, a little bit of fog there too at Maitland and Newcastle, and it will be a little bit cloudy on parts of the south coast tomorrow as well. Sydney's suburbs, it looks like we'll see a little bit of fog potentially on the roads into tomorrow. Some morning fog expected at Liverpool, Penrith and Richmond. Looking at the city into tomorrow, or rather on the water, small swell is expected with swell just sitting around the 1 metre mark. In the city, we can expect to drop down to 12 degrees, warming up to a top of 22 tomorrow with partly cloudy skies. Looking ahead, there will be a few splashes of rain here and there into next week. Afternoon showers on Monday, 22 degrees, heavier falls on the coast, and looks like temperatures will pretty much hover in the high teens for the rest of the week, Michael.
Looks okay. All right, Sal, thank you for that. And that is 7 News for this Saturday. The latest with Mel Doyle is next. I'm Michael Usher from all the team here. Thanks so much for your company. Have a great Saturday night.
This is the latest from 7 News. This Saturday evening, tonight, America burns. Riots